Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. So let's begin the conversation. And it's about the issues of security. Sadly, Senator Ndume today said that over 840 soldiers have been buried since 2013 in the northeast region of the country. He said this while he was briefing journalists at the National Assembly. Senator Ndume says the record of the number of soldiers killed was given the committee during a recent oversight visit to theater commands in Borno State. Senator Ndume is also lamenting the 100 billion naira budgetary allocation for defense, which he says is seriously inadequate, especially as it was discovered during the visit that the soldiers are under-equipped to confront the insurgents. Let's talk about this. This being a major threat to the nation's security, insurgency in the northeast region of the country. There were at some point from reports from the government that several local government areas were held by these insurgents. There are all the dimensions to the fact that ISWAP, one of a global terrorist organization, also have its own faction and group in the insurgency in the northeast region of the country. There's been a lot of effort being made by the Nigerian military in fighting and combating in that region. At some point, the federal government did tell Nigerians that the popular Sambisa forest has been largely conquered by the Nigerian military, and the insurgents have been chased out of that place. That was a news that brought a lot of joy to the hearts of a lot of Nigerians, knowing for well that that was a region where the insurgents were really making their activities. So tonight, let's speak with the chairman of the Senate Committee, the man who spoke earlier today on some of this issue. Senator Ndume joins us on the program. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Senator Ndume. It's so sad to hear, isn't it, some of these issues, some of the revelations that you gave today at the National Assembly. Over 840 soldiers. This is perhaps the ones that are officially buried by the Nigerian military. Did they tell you? Because some human rights group will tell you that perhaps there were secret burials of soldiers or what of you. What more can you tell us, Senator?
Well, first of all, as I said, we went to see things for ourselves, and we requested to go to see the cemetery where there's this, to verify the veracity of this allegation that there is mass burial and stuff like that. So we were taken to the cemetery, and the truth of the matter is what I said earlier in the day, that since 2013, we lost over 800 soldiers. And the list is there at the cemetery. It's not something that the army hides or something. It's, when somebody dies, his rank, the date is written on, continuously. And the number so far is over 800. And we try to find out the truth of the matter as to whether there is mass burial. There isn't something like that. So talking about 1,000 soldiers who are buried. We also investigated and found out that it is not true that soldiers were sometimes just killed and then buried without. They have a tradition which they strictly follow. And that is to say they take the number and then they inform the family, arrange the burial ceremony, and they do some specific military ceremony for that purpose. So I believe, some people are saying it's more, but the fact of the matter is, as I said, from 2013 to 2019, as at last date, the number is 800.
Senator, that's, if you look at it, that's about an average of 120 soldiers being killed every year since 2013. Could you tell Nigerians, perhaps, how you are able to verify this? Because so a lot of people, to douse and allay fears of a lot of people who have owned this kind of belief that there were actually secret burial for some of these soldiers. Are you able to reconcile the list, because you are the Senate chairman on Army? Are you able to reconcile a list of deployment to that region or to that theater, and perhaps what they have on the ground over those years?
No, our simple investigation is to find out whether it's possible to bury some soldiers unceremoniously and to hide the number. I can say categorically that that is not true, and that is not even possible. Because soldiers insist, if they go for a war front, like a day that they had some casualty, we went to the military cement mortuary too. And it was not hidden. They told us that the soldiers that they lost, they fell down, they keep them in the mortuary, prepare them for proper burial. So it's not a hidden thing anyway. But to say that more than that number that I told you have been killed and buried somewhere is not true. Because the numbers are there for anybody to see. Even if you go to the cemetery tomorrow, it's in the front of it. The list of the fallen soldiers is listed there. So and it's the case even in the military cemetery here on the airport road. If you go there, you will see the list of the fallen soldiers. So they have a tradition that they don't compromise. When you talk about verification, we are not there to go and say we want to do verification. We want to find out what is happening. Is it true, or is it possible to bury soldiers secretly without following through the procedure? And we found out that is not possible.
So some of the reports from the Human Rights Committee, community, is not true. It's against the procedure, yeah, or what is on the ground.
No, you see, most of these human rights, the question you ask me is supposed to be directed to the human rights people. They sit down in their offices and write whatever they want to write. This is the way I look at it. Because as I said, the military have a tradition. I was impressed with the way they did their thing. And in fact, when we went there, they are really putting the place in order. The list is there. They don't hide it. Let me even say that soldiers that fall in service don't fight. You can check their record in every cemetery. In fact, they told us that there are some that lost their life in Maiduguri but were buried in Abuja, and therefore their list will be in the in Abuja cemetery. We have a lieutenant colonel and some couple of others, and that reminded me that even that time I was at one of the burials, and they have a list even at the Abuja military cemetery. So the number of soldiers lost in the war from 2013 is there, published. When I asked about the previous number, they said they didn't come out because of this kind of wild allegations by the civil society. They decide to, every soldier, and it's the tradition to have a list of it.
But what can you tell us, Senator, about the compensation to some of the families of the fallen soldiers? It's so sad to hear for some of them who lay their lives down to secure some of us who are citizens of this country. Is any process being put in place to properly compensate them, the families of the fallen heroes?
That too, the soldiers have a way. And they are improving on it. I don't know the specific, but what I discovered is that even what I know is about the feeding allowances of the soldiers and I think they say their duty allowance to the war zone or something like that. The welfare package is okay as far as I'm concerned. But it is okay it is one thing to have the welfare package improved on paper. It is again another thing to have the money actually paid to the soldiers in the field. The biggest challenge they have is money. They don't have enough money. The budget, as you can see, for this year is only 100 billion for defense, not army, for defense. We are in a state of war in so many from so many angles. One, the military are engaged in the war in Northeast. Two, they are engaged in the war with the banditry in Northwest. They are in the North Central battling with the fight and struggle between these. They are in South, you know. And so Nigerian army is everywhere, and we have a very small number 150,000, I think, with 6,000 officers, and then you budget 100 billion for them in a year. That is not adequate enough. So the challenge is not paying the soldiers, but if they have the money, they will pay. One thing with soldiers is that they don't waste time on issues like that. They pay dispassionately. But the truth of the matter is that they don't have enough money. That is the truth of the matter.
Okay. So
this war, as they say, can be ended. They are so determined, but they can only do with what they have. And as you know, soldiers don't complain.
All right.
It
Senator,
is we that when we see these things on ground. Yes.
Senator, let's take a breather. When we come back, you are from Borno State. We'll be asking you about the solution to end the insurgency. You said they are eager to end this, but how can they end it? Especially when we have a retired general as the president of the nation. We'll take a break, everyone, and we'll come back to discuss this. Join us. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. Sadly, there's some whose jobs is to risk their own lives to protect some of us, and some of them are soldiers fighting in the theater of war in some parts of the country, trying to stop insurgents, trying to stop bandits, trying to stop kidnappers from invading our land. And so tonight we are talking about how the issues of security can be properly handled. So today it was revealed that 800 soldiers, over 800 soldiers have been buried since 2013. Senator Ndume is the chairman committee on army and has been talking to us on the program tonight. Let's get back to Senator Ndume. Senator Ndume, let me also get a clarity on this burial. You visited Borno State. Did you also visit Adamawa State and Yobe State? The over 800 barriers that you're talking about, is it in all of these major 3 states where the insurgency is?
No, we visited Borno State. That was, we chose Borno State deliberately because it's the epicenter of the insurgency. And we are visiting other states too, like we are going to Kaduna to the military depot, going to Port Harcourt to take a look at the South-South zone. That is the plan. But as I said, we visited the cemetery at Borno, the military cemetery at Borno. And that is the number there.
Sorry, Senator. So the figure that you are giving, the 847, is only in Borno State, not include Yobe and Adamawa are not included.
Yeah, Yobe and Adamawa and other places are not included, but that is where the figures, the majority of the figure is, because that's the epicenter of and that is the theater headquarters. The theater headquarters of the war against insurgency.
Interestingly, Senator, you are from Borno State. And a lot of the time when, for example, the military said, look, Sambisa Forest has been largely conquered by the Nigerian military. There are, in fact, suggestions on what to do with Sambisa Forest. But we still hear and see bombardment in that Sambisa Forest. A lot of people who do not know that region of the country, or who do not know how large Sambisa Forest itself looks like, what is it and how difficult is it to conquer that place? Knowing full well that a few days ago, the military says that there were bombardments on activities of the insurgents in that area.
Well, that is true. From the picture, you can see what Sambisa Forest looks like. And you can also see the movement from this clip that they are. But what is necessary is that the fight against this insurgency must be consistent, continuous, and you dominate, and to make sure that the Boko Haram is completely eliminated. Right now, they are defeated, of course, and as you can see, once there is Air Force attacked from the air, they scramble for safety because they don't have air power on it. So if it is consistent and you come out and then the ground troops go down and then come out to the place to make sure it's covered. But Sambisa is not in the border of any country. It's in the center of Bauchi, no, it didn't even reach Taraba, Adamawa and Yobe. It's in my local government. We know the terrain there. It can be covered. As I said, our military needs like fighter helicopters that will be consistently on ground. You need more troops. If you get into a place, you keep them there to dominate the place. Then you need money to pay these people their dues, and you need to keep them adequately so that they will have the confidence. One of the things we realize is that their morale is going down and they are getting frustrated. And that is because you can do it, but you don't have what it takes to do it. It can be frustrating. So if Nigerians, I believe, if Nigerian soldiers are well kitted, they have the air support particularly, and as you can see, the theater commander even said to us jokingly and seriously that, Oga, give us our own helicopters that we'll keep in our large camps, and we'll get these boys, we'll finish this war in 3 months. And I believe him, because if the attention is given to solving this problem, we can not only solving it, we can end it. We can end it in no distant time. Senator. And that's why we are calling for the government to concentrate. After all, the Constitution is clear about security and welfare of citizens. That is the main purpose of government. So as far as I'm concerned, more should be spent to get the problem solved. Where a house is on fire and you are looking elsewhere, maybe trying to fix some things, I don't think that is the right thing to do. We should get rid of this, because from what I have seen on ground, our soldiers are committed, and their leadership is also committed. Olusegun Adeniyi, who is the current theater commander, is a Yoruba man. But if you see his passion into this war, it's unbelievable. The theater commander, MJTF commander now, Brigadier, who is recently promoted, Brigadier Major General A.B.B., we could not find him there because he was at the war front. And the next day, when we were to go to Jimtulo with the theater commander, there was an alert that the Boko Haram are likely to attack from a place known as Magumeri. He left us there and went to join the troops on the ground to boost them. So the morale, the soldiers are committed, but they are handicapped. And you know the nature of our soldier. In the army, you don't complain. You don't complain. All right. In fact, they did not complain to us, but on our visit, we found these things, and those are the things that are on ground. And we need to get this war over. Especially now, we have...
Yeah, Senator, we have just about less than 2 minutes to close the program. And in that time, I'd like you to respond to 2 questions so that we can, and it's about solutions. So if you can briefly just help me hit those issues on the air. The first question is going to be on the issues of budgeting. You're saying that there are not enough funding for the military to execute this insurgency war. The question has been the fear of how these monies have been mismanaged in the past. We've seen allegations of which, of course, some of the cases are in court. Are you going to be suggesting that the budget that the president presented, that the budget that goes into defense will be added or will be increased?
Well, if the government wants to finish it, to end this war, which I think the government is committed to, more money should be given to the Nigerian Armed Forces and police. Not only that, special recruitment should be, should be made purposely to get this war to an end. Because even if you have the equipment and you don't have the personnel to hold the ground, then you will have problems. And it is not again true from my investigation on ground that maybe there can be mismanagement here and there, but the current leadership that I know of the armed services are really people that are transparent to my Senator, understanding.
Senator, let us close this program, but just in 20 seconds. The big question is, if you were face to face with President Muhammadu Buhari on this insurgency war, and to ask him one question or to tell him one thing about ending this war, what would that be in 20 seconds?
Interestingly, I have already told the president, I said, give them more money. Number one is money. It's money that they will use to buy the equipment. It's money that they will use to buy to pay their allowances and their dues, or even compensate the dead ones. And it is money that they will use to buy more equipment.
Senator Ali Ndume, we sincerely thank you for coming tonight to talk to Nigerians about these issues. Many thanks for talking to us tonight on the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Well, Senator Ali Ndume, Chairman, Senate Committee on the Army. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. That's how we end the show tonight. I'm Sean Akimale. Bye-bye.